Well, hi, this is Pastor Rick here, and I am going to show you how to change our new electronic sign. First, you will need to go to the SM Infinity website and type in your email address and password, which I will provide for you, and then hit log in. Okay, and all changes to our sign are done through this website, which means you can do it either at the church or at home, which makes it very convenient to change. When you log in, you'll come to the home page, and you will have a choice of different ways to go. We will start with how to make a screen, and it uses something called a doodle editor. So you come over and you click your doodle editor, and it'll come up with a screen, and it's very much like, let's say, PowerPoint, in that you are basically using text boxes, for lack of a better term, and writing what you want inside those text boxes. And because it is online, it can take a little bit of time here for things to load up. But so these are all of the different screens that I have made for the sign. A lot of these are just screens that I was playing with just to see how it works. And you can either click on one that you want to work on. It'll show you what it looks like, and you can just click on that, make your changes, hit save, and even if this is playing, whatever changes you make on it will then automatically be carried out onto the sign. But what we're going to do now is we're going to say that we want to make a brand new screen. So we're going to hit New Project. And it will bring up the editor. And so this is the sign. Okay. And you have a choice of things to add to the sign. The first here is text. The second is either an image or a video. And you can use these as backgrounds, or you can use them as the main presentation. You can also change the color of your background. And then there's down here, which we don't use, which is how to add a RSS feed to our sign, but we are not doing that. So let's say, just for the sake of ease, we are going to leave a black background, which is probably the easiest for people to see as they drive down the road. And let's say that we want to say, welcome to church. So we say add text, click the add text button, it brings up some text. Okay. In the text box, or this box for text, not to confuse you here, you can just write welcome. Okay. Then you go to your style, and it defaults to LED 8, or you can do LED 16, which basically makes it look like a road construction sign that you would see, or you can use one of the pre-installed fonts, Arial or Tacoma, or not Tacoma, Tahoma, sorry. I like using Georgia because it seems to be pretty easy to read. You can then change the font size. Bigger is definitely better. So I'm going to take it up here to, let's say, 24. Okay, I want to make that bold. A lot of this is just playing with it. And remember, you can play with these screens as much as you want, and until you add them to a schedule, it's not going to show up on the sign. So feel free to play with it and just see what some of these buttons do. I've always found that's one of the best ways of learning. You can then pick the color for your font. And so let's say we want to do orange. So you pick orange. Okay. And then we want to look at the outline. It defaults that it has an outline around each of those letters. You can turn that off by sliding this to 0 or make it wider. I usually just leave it at 1, and if I'm doing a black background, I leave it at black, just because the way the LED works, it seems to me to make things a little fuzzy or hard to read if you get too fancy with the outlines. And so now we have our welcome, and we want to align it 2 different ways. You can either just do it by sight and just kind of move it to wherever it is you want to move it to, or you can use these buttons here. I like this align center. Brings it right into the center, and then you can choose to either align it to the bottom, or what I usually do is after I align it to the center, I then align it to the top, so it moves it up. Okay, and then you can do your animation. Usually I don't add any animation because it makes it very difficult to read, but you can play with that if you want, and you can animate each letter, each word. If you want to add, let's say, another word, you can just go hit text again, and it will default now to what you'd already set for the first text box. And if you wanted to say, let's say, to Church of Redeemer UM, you can then center that up. And in this case, centering that up makes it look not too bad. And the style and everything, you're probably going to want to stay the same. If you want to add a background or a picture, just go over here to add picture video. And you can also use a video background if you want. And you have My Library, which are the things that we upload. My Spectacular, which are ones that are produced by the SM Infinity company. And we get a few free, but then we have to pay for those. We'll talk about that later. And then we have the general library, which is what came with the sign. And it's got all kinds of different backgrounds, different graphics you can use. But for right now, let's just use one that I uploaded. And this came from a disc that also came with the sign, which I will give to you. And so this is snowflakes, and it's animated. You can tell that's a picture symbol. That's a symbol of for a video. And so you just put add media. Boom. There you go. And then what you do is you have the similar buttons here about bringing this forward or back and all that good stuff. Of course, now what you're going to want to do is to bring up your text. And, well, whoops, I just added a text. Don't really want to add a text. I'll show you here how to get rid of that text. Come down here, click on what you want to get rid of. Click this, because it's all done in layers. And if you want to, you can move it to the back, or you can make it smaller. You can do whatever you want to do. We're going to get rid of that again. There you go. Again, mostly just playing with it. And you can then set the length that you want it to play. It defaults at 8 seconds. I like leaving things up for about 30-45 seconds, just so people can see as they drive down the road. But we'll just leave it at the 8 here. And then come over here and hit save. And it will tell you that it's not at the default, or not default, what it's suggesting. and you say that's okay. And then you just save it at whatever name you want. We'll just use new project 1 and hit save. Okay? And that's all there is to it when it comes to adding whatever it is you want on the sign. Again, you can have backgrounds, you can have pictures. Usually the less busy, if you will, the easier it is to see it. So I like to keep our announcements with just the regular black background and the words being either orange or white or bright red. Those seem to do pretty well. Also, the bright green, not too bad, and the yellow, depending, can also not be too bad either. So that is how you make the slides, if you will, or the screens for the sign. And I will show you in our next video how you can go about adding that to the playlist. So thank you so much.